Kirby once said of Iverson,
"People nowadays realize how great you were as a player."
This 6'3" black kid made history as one of the biggest players of the golden generation, and at the height of his powers, he challenged authority on the court and shook anyone who didn't like what he saw into his own jockstrap. But behind all that, no one knows what he went through, as with most NBA stars. Like most NBA stars, Iverson came from a single-parent family. His mother gave birth to him at the age of 15, and his father only met him 3 times in his life. As a child, Iverson lived in a house and ate food that even dogs wouldn't touch. Although he didn't have a great background, he was blessed with exceptional athleticism. And long before he ever started playing basketball, Iverson had already made his mark in the world of rugby. Although he wasn't a strong man, he was fast, and he had a high injury rate, and he could be stopped whenever he was called upon. When he was on the field, he was unstoppable, winning state football championships, player of the year, every award there was to win. And in basketball, Iverson was just as gifted. On the 3rd day after winning the football championship, he led his team to the state basketball championship, averaging 32 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists, the best in high school. But in the midst of all that, a nightmare hit on Valentine's Day, 1993, a day involving a black man and a white man. On Valentine's Day, 1993, Iverson was arrested in an unfortunate incident involving a black-on-white bowling alley, and he was accused of starting the incident. A white woman claimed that Iverson had attacked her with a chair, but video footage from the scene showed that Iverson had already stepped away from the bowling alley before the fight began, but the court ultimately handed down a sentence of 5 years in prison. 5 years is a long way to go for a great talent. And although Iverson was sentenced to 5 years imprisonment, 4 months later, with the help of the National Association of Colored People, he was released from prison. Although 4 months later, with the help of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, IACP, Iverson was pardoned and released from prison. The repercussions of the incident were too great, and whereas before he went to prison, Iverson had dozens of offers from prestigious colleges and universities, none of them were willing to accept him, and it was at this point that his mother stepped up and took him on a journey with his head bowed and pleaded with his parents. In his first year of college, Iverson didn't dare let up, and he didn't dare waste his talent, so he worked 100 times harder to stand out from the crowd of talented kids, averaging 20 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists. And Iverson's mental strength allowed him to escape from his small stature. In his second year of college, Iverson grew more and more sick and heroic, often destroying opposing defenses on his own. Iverson averaged 25 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists, and ignited the passion of the audience with his unparalleled performance, and became a star player in college. But after his sophomore season, Iverson's sister suddenly became seriously ill, and the family's financial burdens became increasingly heavy. So he made the important decision to enter the NBA early, and in the 1996 draft, it was the golden generation of the NBA, the Kobe Marbury, Ray Allen, Nash, and the Bears. Marbury, Ray Allen, Nash, all potential superstars, and the star of the night was destined to be this 6'3" phenom.
The Philadelphia 76ers select Allen Iverson from Georgetown University.
The #1 guard in the nation, giving Philadelphia fans a glimpse of what was to come. But being new to the league, the outside world didn't expect much from F3's rookie year, because how could a young pigeon adapt so quickly to an NBA, where the norm is to be found? But little did we know that in the very first game of his rookie season, F3 would blow everyone away with 35 points, the best player in the game, the #1 guard in the nation, and a 30-point, 6-player debut. The best player of the game was the #1 guard in the nation, and F3 had made everyone's face. 30 points in the game, 6 assists, and F3 surprised the whole blue world with his perfect debut. The following game, F3 became more and more stable and powerful. Every second he stepped into the court, he was really fighting. His flowing dribble and his amazing crossover made him the nightmare of the other players in the whole league. Even the Blue Raiders were slowed down that year. F3 won the Rookie of the Year without a doubt, and the management saw the hope of winning a championship. They hired Larry Brown as the new head coach of the team, and the 76ers hoped that he could inject new blood into the team. But things didn't go in the direction they were supposed to go at first, and Iverson was very arrogant, and he treated people the way he wanted to be treated, and Larry Brown was stubborn, and he coached harshly, and they were two unique people. Under Coach Brown's tutelage, Iverson was transformed from a simple scorer into a leader of an army. And off the court, he was subjected to a great deal of oppression and ridicule, with many accusing him of dressing up like a gangster. But Iverson didn't give a damn about his gargoyle haircut and tattoos, and he became the face of black hip-hop. Iverson's tattoos were the first of their kind in the league, and Iverson became a worldwide sensation and a popular figure for young people to emulate. With the start of the 2001 season, Iverson is set to have his own season, averaging 31.1 points, 3.8 rebounds, and 4.6 points per game. 4.6 points per game. With his high output, Iverson took the 76ers to 56 wins, a season in which he won scoring titles, steals, regular season MVP, All-Star MVP, and many other honors. In the playoffs, Iverson carried it all on his own. He led a group of old, sick, and handicapped blue-collar players on a grueling road to the championship, knocking off the Ricky Miller-led Misfits in the first round, then eliminating Carter and the Buccaneers through a pair of grueling best-of-7 series. The Raptors, led by Carter, and the Bears, led by Ray Allen, were eliminated in the finals, and they were greeted by the mighty Purple and Gold, and the league's most fearsome duo, Kobe and O'Neal, won all 11 of their games to reach the finals, while the slugfest of the Eastern Conference playoffs had left Iverson battered and bruised with 11 injuries, and it was virtually universally agreed that the Hoosiers would win 4-0. Almost everyone thought the Hoosiers were going to make 500 history with a 4-0 win over the 76ers. And it went exactly as the world thought it would. As soon as the first game started, the Lakers made a fantastic start of 14-0, sweeping the South, shouting in the entire Staples a mere 70 kilograms of pigeons wanting to score in front of 300 pounds of sharks, scoring 48 points in the game, toppling the OK team, and the scene in which he crossed over Tyronn Lue has become a classic image in the history of the world. Although the Lakers finally won the finals, but his destiny began to flounder. Because of his flamboyant personality and style of dress, he was subjected to a lot of pressure and ridicule, and he was portrayed as a man of steel. He was portrayed as a violent, arrogant character with a gun in his possession and a feud with his wife. And the media's targeting of him left him disillusioned. No one listened to his explanations, and he didn't want to explain himself. And eventually, he was dumped by Philadelphia. 31 years old, Evers left Mankay's teeth and went to Denver to form a golden duo with Carmelo Anthony, where he hoped to start a new chapter in his life. But he was wrong, and he was dumped again by Denver. He was sent to the Detroit Pistons, and in Detroit, he was told that he could only play on the bench. And this unruly man, of course, did not want to go along with that. And after a lot of bouncing around, Evers was in a situation where he had nothing to run for, and he thought about retirement, and he thought about going back to his family. But the fate of the world is that you just don't always know what the next moment is going to bring. And Evers was given the chance to come back to the 76ers, and he choked up at one point during the press conference. And after a strong outcry from the fans, Philadelphia once again had their hero. When Alfred kissed the home floor, everyone was in tears for this late hero. But fate once again played a trick on him. Because of his daughter's illness, Alfred had to leave Philadelphia and go to Turkey. But after only 10 games, Alfred suffered a calf injury and had to return to the U.S. for treatment. And after that, he never came back to Turkey. And on October 31st, 2013, this man, who had gone against the odds, officially announced his retirement in Philadelphia. On October 31st, 2013, the man who had defied the odds retired in Philadelphia, and as jersey number 3 rose above the Philadelphia arena, we knew that the era of Ivors had come to an end. But the myths he had left behind would never die. 10 years in Philadelphia, 10 years as a king, and a lifetime of love. Exclusive